Hello, Flawless Family. April is Autism Acceptance Month, and today I am very excited to be joined by Dr. Robin Jones. Dr. Jones is an autism spectrum disorder specialist, the founder and CEO of Access Academy Inc., an institution focused on integrated therapeutic and academic education for neurodiverse students. And that just scratches the surface of her many achievements. So, welcome, Dr. Jones. We are so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here with you today and so excited to just talk about autism acceptance, autism awareness, and the great things that we're doing here with Flawless.
So, to start off the interview at Flawless Foundation, we always start with asking how you are really feeling right now. So, Dr. Jones, how are you really feeling right now?
I am really feeling good. I am excited to just be able to continue the conversations about autism, autism awareness, autism acceptance, and just shine a light on a blue light specifically on just what autism is. It just makes me feel really good that we can just be here to talk about it and have a safe space and open space to just have that acceptance. So that really makes me feel good. So that puts me in a really calm and just open space to just feel good about it.
I feel the same way, and I'm very, very excited. So, to get into it, as we said, April is Autism Acceptance Month, a time that is very meaningful, clearly to you and your work, from where you sit and where you are in your many positions. What do you think this month gets right? And where do you feel we still have important work to do?
Let's see, what we get right is visibility. Just moving the needle from awareness to acceptance, that's a vital shift. It moves the conversations away from that pity party, that pity to just partnership and that acceptance. So, I mean, that puts me in an action mode. That puts the community and everyone in that action mode. That acceptance is just a nice sentiment. But it doesn't provide, it's not providing just a job. It provides the specialized curriculum. It provides a safe community for that 22-year-old that's transitioning out of school, out of the school system. So it just really puts that acceptance and it just puts everything more visible and into the action space. So that for me, that makes it more visible and into the action space. Where there's still work to be done, there's always work to be done. We need to move beyond just being aware and for people to do difference and to start ensuring that societal structures are flexible enough to accommodate those differences. Just creating more spaces and continuing the work of advocacy. So I think all of those things are just very important. And again, the work is never done. There's always more to do,
Mhm.
but this visible and places like this and these platforms that we have keep the visibility going and the acceptance and the inclusion and continue getting it right.
I love that. Yes, I fully agree. And I also, you have so much experience with this and in this field. So I want to go into, yeah, a little more about your professional journey and how incredibly unique it is from working originally in the criminal justice system to working in classrooms to your consulting practice. When did you first realize that you wanted to dedicate your career to supporting the autism community? Was there a moment that shifted or started your path?
Well, it wasn't in a straight line. So yes, I started in the criminal justice system and then later went into the classroom. So I was able to see that firsthand kind of disconnect where we kind of did not quite understand or misjudge what behavior was. But the true shift for me happened in about 2016 when my students at Access Academy started aging out of the school system at age 22. And society had very little resources for them to be included in the community. And that's when I knew that I needed to do more than just teach special education. I needed to provide resources. Resources like the adult day training program that I started to teach vocational and independent living skills, to provide community-based therapies like speech and language, occupational therapy, behavior therapy. So it was then around that time when I knew, just being a teacher was okay, but at that pivotal mark of when they aged out of the school system, that more needed to be done and more resources needed to be provided.
Your work and everything you've done is definitely very inspirational. And hearing your journey firsthand also makes it feel even more impactful. And how everything led up to you, like seeing that change and work and people need to be making those efforts. And which a lot of your work, which you talked about, focuses on these transition aged youth and adults and that critical period between school and independent adulthood. What does it look like when someone on the autism spectrum is truly supported during that transition? And what challenges arise for them when the systems are not set up to meet their needs?
So a successful transition looks like an individualized roadmap, not necessarily a cliff. So for many that are turning 22, it feels like they fall off a service cliff. The school bus stops coming. There's no, all the supports kind of disappear because so like I said before, they age out of that school system and the services kind of go away. So for that transition age, it's just they're becoming that adult. So the same things that we anticipate as we move into adulthood, there should be no different. The same support should continue. Those transportation services should continue for that adult. Those therapeutic services should continue because when they go to work, if they go to work, they may need those same levels of support. So that continuation of services should not stop. Those therapeutic services should not stop. So that transition, that successful transition, should just be a continuation. And that's where, in the past, and we're doing better now, but that's where the service providers, are picked up at that transition point that they keep the services going from the adolescence to the young adult to the adult, continue through adult life, through the lifespan.
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like that isn't shown enough light on that as well, and the many
Correct.
challenges that come. And another, yeah, part of your work and all these things is you focusing on these places that people don't look and they don't see and they don't notice because there's not enough light on them. And some of your research as well that highlighted the an issue that again receives a lot too little attention, the underrepresentation of Black individuals diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. So, could you tell us a little more about your work with that and why it matters so much?
Yeah, in 2019, I worked with a team at FAU CARD, the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. And here in Florida, we did research from Palm Beach County, over five different counties on the underrepresentation of Blacks with autism and how they received those diagnoses. And from that research alone, I conducted focus groups with multiple families across these five county regions, and we found that a lot of the families were unaware. There was a lot of misconceptions within the medical, the pediatricians and the school systems, and it's just misunderstandings, a lot of misunderstandings and unawareness. So we were able, from that research, we were able to create parent trainings, trainings for the medical professionals, trainings for the educational professionals, for the teachers, for the school districts. And from those, we were also able to start a task force, a statewide task force that is still going on today from 2019, as well as a parent support group that is today still going on from 2019. That from that research, these are what the families and the community asked for, and FAU Card and the team were able to provide these services that, again, are still being distributed today. So that research was an eye opener for the community as well as myself and the team of what was really needed in the Black community, and the community responded.
That's amazing. And it makes me so happy to hear that these things are still going on today as well. Um, truly. So, moving on to that idea also, though, of like the misunderstandings and having to like search for these answers and teach people about like how things should be treated and how we as a community need to act towards things like this. At Flawless, one of the big beliefs is that language plays a super powerful role in shaping how society understands brain health and neurodiversity. So, from your perspective, how does the way that we all talk about autism and how individuals with a diagnosis on the spectrum are supported or influence, how does that influence how individuals on the spectrum are supported and included? And are there certain words or narratives that we should move beyond?
Well, yeah, definitely. Language plays a huge part in how we focus on autism. One being person first versus identity first, the language. Historically, it's been the gold standard, where you want to say person first or person with autism, well, or autism, or autistic person. You want to kind of, ask the person, ask first. I was a part of a an advisory board a while back, and one of our studies was to, question that advisory board of adult individuals and ask them, "Hey, how do you want to be addressed?" And it was mixed. Some people preferred person first, and some didn't mind, and some said identity first. So, it's a mix, of who wants to be called what and how do they want to be addressed. But again, moving away from, the typical, but it's based on that individual and, how they feel. Also, moving away from functioning levels, high functioning versus low functioning. It is a spectrum, and, calling it support levels and going towards support levels and a support profile. So, basing it on the level of support that a person needs instead of saying high functioning versus low functioning. That language is also very important that, we're moving away from, and then deficit based versus strength based instead of saying suffering from autism. Being is neurodiverse or autistic, being a strength based and using that neurodiverse language. So, language plays a huge part and just being able to bring that power of neurodiversity to the forefront to just make it more universal language, being able to use that universal language and being more appropriate.
Mhm. Yes, wow. Thank you for that insight. That's something I think that's something that should be just shown and spread also because it's so important, especially the individual asking because everybody, feels differently and has and especially their experience. Um, so yeah, so another question though, something that I have found super interesting, something that's risen in the past decade, the diagnoses, autism diagnoses. Today, about 1 in 31 children in the United States are identified as being on the spectrum compared to 1 in 150 just 20 years ago. So, from your experience in classrooms, your research, and your community programs, what changes have you witnessed during this time, and what do you think is contributing to this shift? Or, yes.
Well, definitely the awareness, platforms like this, making the community more aware of the characteristics of what does autism really look like in the classroom, on the job, because you have colleagues that you work with out there in the workforce and that maybe, may not be diagnosed and just understanding what those needs are. So that's huge. Also, the tools used to diagnose, those have changed over the years and are increasingly, becoming more diverse and more culturally sensitive. The clinicians and the types of services offered to support those with autism, those are evolving, and those services, the services that are being provided to individuals with autism to support their needs, those are huge milestones that are being taken and that are being used to support individuals with autism to just continue to increase the support needed and to raise the awareness. So I think all of those milestones are headed in the right direction to destigmatize and to support individuals with autism and the neurodiverse community.
It's amazing. Yeah, this statistic definitely made me so happy. And I think
Yes.
it, yeah, it shows something such an important thing that we as a country, as a community, we've improved on this, and that, yeah, definitely a good thing.
Yes.
Now, um, moving on to this idea of, yeah, how important it is people to understand during Autism Acceptance Month. Many people want to show their support, but they might not know where to start. What is one meaningful action someone can take right now to better support individuals who have an autism diagnosis in their families or just the community?
Um, to help, I believe one thing that you could do is always listen. Listen more than you can help. Be that listening ear, hear the person, really hear, what they're trying to say and what they are saying. Um, Invite a neighbor over. Families with autism often get alienated. If you know, say you have a child that's having a birthday party and you know a family that has a child around your child's age, invite that family to that birthday party. Um, it's okay to invite them over and be prepared. Ask, before they get there, what are some of the supports that they would need? What will make it easier for that child to attend that party? Be inclusive. Or invite the mom and dad over for dinner, or offer to babysit, or just be helpful to understand, or try to understand, or ask, simply ask, what is it like being an autism family? Just to understand what life is like in their shoes, and just be there to listen. Understanding that's that awareness piece that this month is about, and then accepting it. That acceptance, that's the awareness and acceptance of this month, because you don't know what you don't know, but once you know better, you can do better.
Mhm, mhm. I love that. I love that. Thank you. And so like support is always so important. And it's important to understand that you should put in all your effort to give that support to someone who might need it, like
Yes.
those families that might be going through a lot and might need that extra help and that extra.
And a business owner. If you're a business owner and a job card, if there's a job at your organization that you think is suitable for an individual with autism, go ahead and try that out. Hire someone with autism at your organization. They're great workers, and you never know. You'd be surprised. Individuals with autism, neurodiverse individuals, are some of the great employees, best employees.
Yeah, I love that as well. It's amazing advice and something I've seen, yeah, in my life and through the people I know with autism.
Yes,
They're just, I mean, with like such big hearts and such big
yes,
motivation to do so much.
absolutely.
So lastly, we have this concept of a flawless world, an ideal type of society. What would a flawless world look like to you? And what is giving you hope right now?
Let's see. A flawless world for me isn't one where everyone looks the same. It's one where everyone belongs. To me, it looks like a world where a diagnosis isn't simply a data point, like an eye color or a height that informs you how to support someone. Rather, it's not a barrier to success. It's just where a diagnosis is, it's neurodiverse. It's just another data point. That's it. Flawless, you're just being able to be you. It's okay to have that diagnosis and be neurodivergent, and it's just as simple as my eyes are brown. I'm neurodiverse, my eyes are brown, and I'm flawless. It's simple. It doesn't stigmatize me. It doesn't alienate me. It does not, you know, it does not stigmatize me. I am flawless because I am me.
I
So that's me. That's it for me.
I love that. That is amazing. And I think, yeah, everyone should carry that with them. If anything, I am flawless because I am me. They're all part of us. They're all part of everybody. It's a part of who you are. It's important to accept that and show the people. So this was truly inspiring. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of your knowledge and all of your experience. Um, and yeah, and I hope people carry this information with them throughout April and throughout the rest of their lives as they, yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.